Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept mine, Mataji. So shall we do some kirtan?
Yes,
If you'd
Mataji.
like to do some kirtan, you can start, Mataji.
Mataji, you can start because I need to check for reciters as well. So I'm
Okay, theek hai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Uh, Thank you, Nana Mataji and Meena Mataji for joining in. I'm just about to announce in 1 minute. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today reciters are Meena Mataji will be reciting in Sanskrit and Nana Mataji will be reciting in English from Canto 3, Chapter 31, verses 1 to 16. So Meena Mataji, whenever you are ready, can you please start with invocation 3 times? Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Meena Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, can you please start with invocation 3 times?
Yeah.
Thank you.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 31, Lord Kapila instructions on the movement of the living entities. So somebody, I just answer the door. Somebody just there. 1 second.
Okay, no problem, Mataji.
Yeah, sorry.
Tunali Mataji. Okay.
No, she is there, Mataji. Yeah.
I'm here, but just my husband came.
No problem. No problem. You can do, Mataji.
Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Karmana Devanetrena Jantu Dehopapattaya Striya Pravista Udaram Punso Retaha Karashaya.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text 1 translation. The personality of Godhead said, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, and according to the result of his work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body.
कललं त्वेकरात्रेण पञ्चरात्रेण बुद्बुद्धं दशाहेन तु कंकर्तु पेष्यन्दण्ड्वा ततः परम्.
On the first night, the sperm and the ovum mix, and on the 5th night, the mixture ferments into a bubble. On the 10th night, it develops into a form like a plum, and after that, it gradually turns into a lump of flesh or an egg, as the case may be.
मासेन तु शिरोदाभ्या बद्ध आग्र अद अग्नाविग्रह न खलो वास्ति चर्माणि लिङ्गाच्छिन्द्रो द्रवस्थितिः.
In the course of a month, a head is formed, and at the end of 2 months, the hands, feet, and other limbs take shape. By the end of 3 months, the nails, fingers, toes, body hair, bones, and skin appear, as do the organs of generation and the other apparatures in the body, namely the eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, and anus.
Text 4. चतुर्विधातर्व सप्त पञ्चभिक्षुतु दण्डवः षड्डपि चरायुणानीता कुक्षो भ्राम्यन्ति दक्षिणे.
Within 4 months from the date of conception, the 7 essential ingredients of the body, namely child, blood, flesh, fat, bone, marrow, and semen, come into existence. At the end of 5 months, hunger and thirst make themselves felt, and at the end of 6 months, the fetus, enclosed by the amnion, begins to move on the right side of the abdomen.
Next 5. पानाति धृधातुरसमं ते असम्मते सेते विष्णुपुत्रयो गर्ति स जन्तु संभवे.
Deriving its nutrition from the food and drink taken by the mother, the fetus grows and remains in that abominable residence of stool and urine, which is the breeding place of all kinds of worms.
Kurmi Bhikshat Sravanga Sokur Marya Pratikshanam Mucham Apropyuro Ruvaklesha Stastraye Kshudite Muhu.
Bitten again and again all over the body by the hungry worms in the abdomen itself, the child suffers terrible agony because of his tenderness. He thus becomes unconscious moment after moment because of the terrible condition.
Katu Tikshano Ruksha Labdi Pirupa
That's not true.
Matru Bhukte Rupa Sprushta Sarvangme Stita Vedanaha.
Owing to the mother's eating bitter, pungent foodstuffs or food which is too salty or too sour, the body of the child incessantly suffers pains which are almost intolerable.
Ulbena Vrutastas
Thank you, darling.
Ulbena Savrutastastri Nautrekshya Bahiravruta Aste Krutva Sira Koksho Bugra Pushta Sirodharaha.
Placed within the amnion and covered outside by the intestines, the child remains lying on one side of the abdomen, his head turned towards his belly, and his back and neck arched like a bow.
Ukalpashvadvachestaya Sankunta iva panchare Tatra labda smriti devat Karma chalma satodvavam Smaran dirgha manuchavansam Sarvam ki nama vindate.
The child thus remains just like a bird in a cage, without freedom of movement. At that time, if the child is fortunate, he can remember all the troubles of his past 100 births, and he grieves wretchedly. What is the possibility of peace of mind in that condition?
Arambam saptamamasal Aramdha saptamasal Labdhalbodha api vepita Nekatraste stutivate Vista puri vasodaraha.
Thus, endowed with the development of consciousness from the 7th month after his conception, the child is tossed downward by the airs that press the embryo during the weeks preceding delivery. Like the worms born out of same filthy abdominal cavity, he cannot remain in one place.
Nathamana rusibitaha Saptavadri krutakshali Stoitam tam vikalvaya Vachaya nodararpita.
The living entity in this frightful condition of life, bound by 7 layers of material ingredients, prays with folded hands, appealing to the Lord who has put him in that condition.
Chantur uvacha Tasyo prasanma vitujagdishayat Nana tanubu vichacharana vindam So aham prajami saranam yakruto vayam me Yeni drusiga tiradrashya sato anurupa.
The human soul says, I take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in his various eternal forms and walks on the surface of the world. I take shelter of him only because he can give me relief from all fear, and from him I have received this condition of life, which is just benefiting my impious activities.
यस्तवत्र वदैव कर्माभिरावृता कृतात्मा भूतेन्द्रियाशय अविमवलभ्यमायाम् आस्ते विशुद्धम् विकारम् अखाण्डबोधम् आताप्यमान हृदये अवसितं नमामि.
I, the pure soul, appearing now bound by my activities, am lying in the womb of my mother by the arrangement of Maya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him, who is also here with me, but who is unaffected and changeless. He is unlimited, but he is perceived in the repentant heart. To him I offer my respectful obeisances.
य पञ्चभूत रचिते रहित शरीरे जोन्यो अन्यथि इन्द्रिय गुणाचिदात्मको अहम् तेना विकुण्ठ महिमानमुषितमेनं वन्दे परं प्रकृतिपुरुषयो पुमासम्.
I am separated from the Supreme Lord because of my being in this material body, which is made of 5 elements, and therefore my qualities and senses are being misused, although I am essentially spiritual. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is transcendental to material nature and the living entities, because he is devoid of such a material body, and because he is always glorious in his spiritual qualities, I offer my obeisances unto him.
ययोरुगणकर्मनिबन्ध यमाययोरुगणकर्मनिबन्ध अस्मिन् संसारिके पथिवच्चरन्स्तन्दभीश्रमेण संसारिके पथिचरस्तदभीक्षमेण नस्तस्मृतिपूनरयं प्रवणितं लोकं युक्ता कयामहदनुग्रह अस्तरेण.
The human soul further prays, the living entity is put under the influence of material nature and continues a hard struggle for existence on the path of repeated birth and death. This conditional life is due to his forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, without the Lord's mercy, how can he again engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord?
नहनं यदि तदत्ततात्मकं सदेव त्रेकालिकं स्थिरचरेष्वनुवसिन्तताश त्वं जीवकर्म पदवी अनुवृत्तमानस प्रापात्रयोपशमना स्वयं भजीम.
No one other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the localized Paramatma, the partial representation of the Lord, is directing all inanimate and animate objects. He is present in the 3 phases of time, past, present, and future. Therefore, the conditioned soul is engaged in different activities by his direction. And in order to get free from the 3-fold miseries of this conditional life, we have to surrender unto him only. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Please forgive my mistakes and thank you for the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, if I missed it.
No, Mataji, it's fine. Very nice recitation by both of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for very beautiful recitations. Okay, so divine, thank you so much. Okay, thank you, dear devotees, for kindly joining this evening. That is the Srimad Bhagavatam and giving this opportunity to speak few words on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so here before we move into Srimad Bhagavatam, we shall offer Mangalacharan prayers to all our Acharyas, Gurus, all Vaishnavas, Krishna, Radha, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्दे श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामी इति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतं स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्त्वभद्राणि विजनोति सुहृसतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। एतेषां सकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयं इन्द्रादिव्याकुलं लोकं गृह्यन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधर्मं स्वस्तये नमः। कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न श्रुषामेषा पुराणार्को अधुनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये। अति विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्तिस्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्तिदुःखं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयिमेनन्यविषयमधुमधुपते असपुरच्युततिमुद्वाहतर्धगङ्ग्यवघ्नुदन्वति। श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सकरुष्णुर्षभावनिध्रविराजन्यवंशिदहनानापवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोर्विजसुराट्यहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य मर्त्यानं किमुताशशः पुनश्च भूयात् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गर्ष तदाश्रयेषु महस्वयां याम् उपयां सृष्टिं मैत्रसु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यमीश्वरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरेणानमतग्राह व्याप्तं सिद्धान्तसागरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रयविरितः सङ्गृह्णाति आकृतात् अज्ञः सिद्धान्तसन्मनीम् ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for kind devotees. I shall share my screen. Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the new chapter. We are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 31. It is the Lord Kapila's instructions on the movements of the living entities. It's in the past chapter, 30th chapter, Kapila Bhagavan explained about the different, the adverse fruitative activities of a living entities. Adverse fruitative activities of the living entities. Now, how those adverse activities, so after that, what happens? So, at the end of life, at the end of this chapter, there, after going through so many of life, different species of life, adhastad narlokasya yavatihi yatanadayah, suffering through different bodies of different species of life, yavatihi yatanadayah, and kramashah sam anukramya, just gradually, kramashah sam anukramya, one after another, just like from rat to cat, cat to dog, dog to cow, something like that. So gradual elevation. Kramashah sam anukramya, punaratra vrajestuchihi. And again, so he has to go out of 8.4 million species of life. He has to go through, for example, if he is at 8 millions, and if his consciousness fell down for 100 millions, then he has to come down, and then again he need to start back, climb the steps again, gradually. Kramshaha samanukramya. And then after that, he has to take a birth. So here, how he takes the birth here, Kapila Bhagavan explains in this chapter, and what are the difficulties he will go through while he is in the present, while he is present in the womb of a mother. Okay, starting from chapter beginning. And also there at the end, the baby, he will resolve to execute Krishna consciousness after taking birth in this material world. But unfortunately, as soon as he touches the ground of this material world, he will forget everything again, continue the fruitive activities. So that's why Kapila Bhagavan wants that one should not associate with any people who are Stri Sangaha, who are associating with the women or with bad people who are not Krishna. In other way, do not associate with any people who are not Krishna conscious. And how powerful this material nature puts the living entity into these adverse activities again, going through all hellish conditions of life. So this is just a synopsis. We shall enter into the chapter. So chapter 31, Lord Kapila's instructions and the movements of the living entities. So in the first shloka, Kapila Bhagavan says that living entity enters into the womb of the mother, taking the shelter of semen of your father. Shelter of, but it is the semen itself is not potent, but only the living entity takes the shelter of the semen of the father, enters into the womb of your mother, but that happens under the divine supervision. Like this, Kapil Bhagavan says, 31st chapter, 3rd canto, 31st chapter, shloka number 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacham Karmana Daiva Netreena Janturdeha Upapattaye Striyaha Pravishtabudharam Pumsoreta Kanashrayah Karmana Daiva Netrena. It is Karmana by the results of the work, Daiva Netrena, under the supervision of the Lord. Daiva Netrena Janturdeha Upapattaye, and the body of the living entity, it will be produced. Jantu is the living entity, Deha is the body, Upapattaye, for obtaining. And how it will get? Striyaha pravishta udharam, of a woman, pravishtaha enters udharam, into the womb of your mother. How? Pumsoretaha kanashrayah, of a man's semen. Pumsaha retaha kana ashrayah, the it takes the particles of shelter of the particles of the semen and enters into the womb of the mother. Pumsoretaha kanashrayah. It's a translation. The personality of Godhead said, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the result of his work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb of a woman through the particle of male semen to assume a particular type of body. Okay, purported by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are 2 paragraphs. Can I request 2 volunteer devotees to read 2 paragraphs, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please. First paragraph.
Thank you. Purport. As stated in the last chapter, after suffering different kinds of hellish conditions, a man comes again to the human form of body. The same topic is continued in this chapter in order to give a particular type of human form to a person who has already suffered hellish life. The soul is transferred to the semen of a man who is just suitable to become his father. During sexual intercourse, the soul is transferred through the semen of the father into the mother's womb in order to produce a particular type of body. This process is applicable to all embodied living entities, but it is especially mentioned for the man who was transferred to the under Tamisra hell. After suffering there, when he who has had many types of hellish bodies, like those of dogs and hogs, is to come again to this human form, he is given the chance to take his birth in the same type of body from which he degraded himself to hell. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nicely read. Can I request the devotee to read next paragraph, please?
Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Everything is done by the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Material nature supplies the body, but it does not under the direction of the Supersoul. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that living entity is wandering in this material world on a chariot made by the material nature. The Supreme Lord, as Supersoul, is always present with the individual soul. He directs material nature to supply a particular type of body to the individual soul according to the results of his work. And the material nature supplies it. Here one word, reta kanastrayaha, is very significant because
it indicates that it is not the semen of the man that creates life within the womb of a woman. Rather, the living entity, the soul, takes shelter in a particular a particle of semen and is then pushed into the womb of a woman. Then the body develops. There is no possibility of creating a living entity without the presence of the soul, simply by sexual intercourse. The materialist theory that there is no soul and that a child is born simply by material combination of the sperm and ovum is not very feasible. It is unacceptable. Hare Krishna. That's news, isn't it? Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Oh yes, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. So beautifully read. So here, Kapila Bhagavan describes in the purport after different kinds of hellish conditions. In the Garuda Purana, it gives all the mostly about all hellish conditions. Okay, but again in the past chapter, Kapila Bhagavan describes in the 25th shloka that Atraiva 29th shloka Atraiva narakaha swargaiti mataha prachakshite ya yatana vai narakyasta iha api upalakshitaha. So in this material world itself, we can see the hellish conditions and heavenly conditions. Atraiva narakaha swarga. Just here itself, we see that sometimes as we perceive day-to-day basis. Before they come into this existence of this material world, they were going through the practice. They were given a chance to practice the hellish condition of life in the Yamaloka. After that, in a gradual progression, this is Kramashaha Anukramya. So there again, it is describing that Kramashaha, some Anukramya, Punaratra Vrajet Suchihi. And after gradually coming step by step, it gives very appropriate whenever a person climbing onto the step by step 100 steps. If he climbs to the 80 steps or 90 steps, and if he commits mistakes and then slips from there, coming down to the bottom, or if he falls under, he will roll back and then maybe 50th step, then again he need to climb one after another like that. So 50th step may be a cat life. After that, 51 dog. Likewise, he needs to climb up all gradually. Kramashaha Anukramya. So then he has to come back to, if it is 80th step is human life, that is man come back again to the human form of body, if that is his status, the highest status of his life. So, but if he progress little bit even in the Krishna consciousness, understanding his consciousness position as the part and parcel of the Lord, then that consciousness puts him, that knowledge will never ever be lost. That knowledge is always retained. That is eternal knowledge. Neha vikramana sosti pratyavayu navidyate salpamapyas dharmasya trayate mahato bhayad. With that knowledge, he will further progress if there is a little bit of scope for it. Lord gives opportunity for further progress. So here, in that gradual progression, that same topic is continued here in this chapter as well. How the living entity further after getting into the new mother, womb of a new mother or fresh life. So here, in order to give a particular type of human form to a person who has already suffered hellish life, the soul is transferred to the semen of a man who is just suitable to become his father. So it is transferred taking the shelter of a semen of a man, suitable to become his father. Again, how it is understood, a father's consciousness, what is the consciousness of father, what is his material conditions and circumstances, and the new living entity, what is its expectations, what it is going to experience pains and pleasures through that family of that father. Whether it is appropriate, when it is suitable, the Karamana Dhaiva Netrena, by the divine arrangement, he will go and take the shelter of that semen of a father, enters into the womb of a mother, just suitable to become his father. Then, during the sexual intercourse, the soul is transferred through the semen of the father into the mother's womb in order to produce particular type of body. So there is a beautiful pictures. We got this one, the first shloka, where the semen are entering into the womb of the mother, where the egg cells are here. So that is the interaction. Okay, that one go into the next shloka. Just show here how it is entering. And then this process is applicable to all embodied living entities. It may be birds, cats, or snakes, or dogs, anything, either human beings, animal beings, beasts, anything, it is the same process applicable to all embodied living entities. But it is especially mentioned for the man who was transferred to the Antamishra and the Tamishra hell, because where he has got most association with the women, mixing women with other women. So there it is in the previous chapter, Yahta Mishra, Andata Mishra, Rauravadhyasha Yatanaha, Bhumte Narova Nariva, Mitaha Sangeri Nidmitaha. Without relationships, if they are mixing together man and woman, there Bhumte Narova Nariva, either man or woman, they mixing together without relation, such kind of living entities fall into Andata Mishra. Yahta Mishra, Andata Mishra, Rauravadhyasha Yatanaha. They will go through all such kind of sufferings. Yatanaha means so much of painful conditions. Mitaha Sangera Nirmitaha. Like people see that going to the pubs and there without relation, they mix mitaha Sangera Nirmitaha. Such kind of people go into Andata Mishra. So especially those living entities transferred to mentioned, but it is especially mentioned for the men who was transferred to Andata Mishra. After suffering there, when he who has had many types of hellish bodies, like those of dogs and hogs, is come to again to the human form, and he is given the chance to take birth in the same type of body, from which he degraded himself to the hell. So whatever the step he has followed, and then again he will come back to that step gradually. And then further, Prabhupada is describing everything is done by the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is the Tam Jiva Karma Padivim Anuvartamanaham. So it comes later on. He said, Jnanam Yajyetad Adadat Prathamahasadevaha Traikalikam Sirichireshu Anuvartitamshaha. Traikalikam, past, present, and future. The Lord sees everything, all activities, and consciousness and desires of the living entity, and understanding its conscious position, he will make sure that it is going into the right father and right mother's family. Everything is done by the supervision of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Tam Jiva Karma Padivim Anuvartamana. And material nature supplies the body, but it does so under the direction of the super soul. Material nature acts Mayadhyakshena Prakritihi Suyite Sacharacharam. So material nature runs under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here it is said in the Bhagavad Gita that a living entity is wandering in this material world on a chariot made by material nature. This is chariot is the human body's chariot. The senses are like the horses. Mind is the rein, and if mind is falling by a person without experience, then he does not know how to lead the chariot. But if we give the reins to Krishna, there who is super soul, and how we give it our control on our senses to Krishna. That means we have to follow the rules and regulations. I do not do anything which is against Krishna's instructions. Then these reins are in the hands of Krishna. Krishna is the expert charioteer. So we know how, even though in the middle of Kurukshetra battle, everywhere there are so many dead bodies are there. It is very difficult even to put step one from one dead body to other. But Krishna has taken Arjuna in so many ways, like during the time of killing of Jayadratha. They have so many miles of these soldiers, but Krishna driven very beautifully. So here, when we give control of our life into the hands of Krishna, Deho vidhevashataha khalu karma yavat. All our life and our senses to Krishna, Krishna will drive our life very nicely. So that is very beautiful. And when Bhishma Deva, when he speaks to Yudhishthira about glorifying you, do you think that Krishna is your yam matuleyam priyam mitram suhrattamam aparo sachivam bhotam sauhrudad atasaridim? You think Krishna is your well-wisher, your friend, or your cousin, or your charity to Arjuna, or counselor, or well-wisher like that? No, yes. So he is Sarvatmana Samadrushohi Adbhayasya Anaham Kurtehe. He is the super soul existing in the heart of all living entities. Sarvatmana Samadrushohi is with equal vision. Samadrushohi Adbhayasya Anaham Kurtehe. Tat Kurtu Mati Vaishyamyam Nirvadyasya Nakwachit. Whatever he does, it is completely flawless. So he knows, Krishna knows how to direct our chariot, our body, and how to orchestrate the activities in front of us. He will give step by step so that we would easily cross this materialness sign. So how do we understand here? Again, sometimes Krishna drives Arjuna's chariot so that Arjuna do not face the hard times with Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and those people. Though Arjuna is able to counteract, but when they are very powerful, Krishna takes Arjuna to somewhere else so that Arjuna does not face great dangers. And whenever they're calmed down, at that time Krishna takes them, and then Arjuna was able to fight. In such a way, in our life, when we take Krishna as shelter, we will also, there are so many problems in this world, but Krishna takes us in all the smooth way. The road is spread with all beautiful flowers. We will go very happily. Okay, that is how Krishna takes us. So we have to hear. So here the chariot. This metal world on a chariot made by metal nature. The Supreme Lord as Super Soul is always present with individual soul. And he directs material nature to supply a particular type of body to the individual soul according to the result of his work. This is according to the result of his work. No work is no work is like either pious activity or sinful activity. Both has to be reaped into the fruits. But Krishna says, some of the fruitive activities may be in the seed level, some are fructifying it, some are all maturing, likewise in different states. One has to see it. But whereas Krishna consciousness activity, it does not reap any fruitive activity, fruitive results, no reactions. Asevayayam prakrutir gunanam and jnanena vairagya vijrumbitena yogena mai epitayata bhaktya mam pratyagatmanam ihavarunde. So asevayayam prakrutir gunanam. We do not serve the material nature. We serve only Krishna. When we serve material nature, it will give the results of the work, reactions. So here one word retaha kanashriyaha is very significant because it indicates that it is not the semen of a man that creates life within the womb of a woman. Rather, the living entity, the soul, takes shelter in a particle of a semen and is then pushed into the womb of a woman. Then the body develops. There is no possibility of creating a living entity without the presence of the soul, simply by sexual intercourse. So this is, the soul must be there. Otherwise, people may be using, nowadays there are so many of materialistic ways. But here it says the living entity without the presence of the soul, the simply sexual course does not produce the child. Because based on the consciousness of the father, they have got the mood, whether they want to invite a soul into their family or not. And then the materialistic theory that there is no soul and that a child is born simply by metal combination of sperm and worm is not very feasible. It is unacceptable. This is asatyam apritistam te jagadahuranishwaram aparaspara bhutam kimanyet kamahaitukam. The people think that this material world has not got any person who is behind it. That asatyam apritistam te jagadahu anishwaram. No one is the controller. We are the controller by ourselves. And everyone are produced by parasparasam bhutam kimanyet kamahaitukam. Just mix of the man and woman with sexual intercourse, the children are born. That is, but here, that is not acceptable. Kapil Bhagavan describes this process. Here, entering into the womb of your mother, it is gradually first month, second month, third month, and fourth month. This has been explained so many millions of years ago. The modern science knows very little. Mostly, we can say it might have copied entirely from the Vedic injunctions. We might say that one because this knowledge is already there. All the knowledge is there in the Vedic injunctions. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to just do experiment, taking this knowledge, maybe in their own way, but this is already present. Some people do patent claims, something like that. If the patents are to be there, everything goes to Krishna only. Because from Krishna, all the Vedas comes, from the Vedas, all knowledge comes. And all because of our knowledge, we are able to survey how to live, how to speak, how to write literature, everything. The sound vibrations, how to vibrate the tongue, how to pronounce, everything comes from the sources starting from Brahma in this material world. And for the Brahma, Lord is the supreme personality of God, Lord is the source. Okay, so that is from this purport. So here, Kapil Bhagavan, he says that before Kapil Bhagavan itself, this knowledge was existing. Again, Kapil Bhagavan only says that Esha Atmapato Abjektaha Nashtaha Kalena Bhuyasa. This knowledge, oh mother, this knowledge, what I am going to explain to you, it is already existing. I am just simply repeating that one because in due course of time, this knowledge was lost. Esha Atmapato Abjektaha Nashtaha Kalena Bhuyasa. Nashtaha Kalena Bhuyasa. Because it was lost, and I am going to repeat the same knowledge again. Okay, so that one, and then we shall move to the next shloka. So there, in the next shloka, Kapil Bhagavan describes what happens into the whenever it enters into the womb of the mother. He says in the first night, the semen and the womb, they mix together. And in the fifth night, it will form like a bubble. And in the 10th night, it will just form like a berry size form. And then later on, it will turn into the fetus. So this is it is like the first night, fifth night, and then 10th night, and like a plum like, and then after that, like a lump or the egg. And egg would form the different parts later on in the first month, second month, and third month. So here, Kapil Bhagavan says, Kallam tu ekaratrena, pancharatrena budbudam, dasa hena tu karkanduhu, pesyandam va tataha param. Kalalam tu ekaratrena. In the first night, kalalam tu, it mixing of sperm and worm together. And then what happens after fifth night? Pancharatrena budbudam. And by the fifth night, it will budbudam, a bubble will form. Dasa henatu katkanduhu. In 10 days, that that one turn into, the bubble will turn into like a plum size. And then pesendam va tataha param. Pesi, a lump of flesh, andam, an egg. Pesendam va tataha param. After that, it will become like a egg, like that. The translation. On the first night, the sperm and ovum mix, and on the fifth night, the mixture of ferments into a bubble. On the 10th night, it develops into a form like a plum, and after that, it gradually turns into a lump of flesh or an egg, as the case may be. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can I request other devotee to read the purport, please? Small purport.
Can I read it, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. The body of the soul develops in 4 different ways according to its different sources. One kind of body, that of the trees and plants, sprouts from the earth. The second kind of body grows from sperspication, as with flies, germs, and bugs. The third kind of body develops from eggs, and the fourth develops from embryo. This verse indicates that after emulsification of the ovum and sperm, the body gradually develops either into a lump of flesh or into an egg, as the case may be. In the case of birds, it develops into an egg, and in the case of animals and human beings, it develops into a lump of flesh. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here there are 4 different ways of according to its different sources. Bodies would appear or babies take birth. One is like a one kind of body that of the trees and plants, they sprout from the earth. That is the first one. And then second one is second kind of body grows from the perspiration, from the sweat, and with the flies, germs, and bugs they will develop. That is from the sweat. And then third kind of body develops from the eggs. That is the bird, like snakes also lay eggs and birds lay eggs like that. So those are developing from the eggs. And then fourth develops from the embryo. This is like some animals give birth from the womb, like human gives birth from the womb. This verse indicates that after emulsification of the ovum and sperm, the body gradually develops either into a lump of flesh or into an egg, as the case may be. As the case may be. In the case of birds, it's developed into egg, and in the case of animals and human beings, it develops into a lump of flesh. Okay, so again, there is a little bit of, I think some information also begins. That is, it's very long. Let's not go into that one too much. Okay, that is the way of body development of living entity. 4 levels, 4 different kinds. Earth, and then the sweat, and the egg, and then embryo. So this is again the gradual development, the second shloka. Okay, we shall move to the next third shloka as well. What happens in the first month after 10 days? Here, Kapila Bhagavan describes first month the head will form, and then second month the arms and then legs they will form, and then the third month the skin and the nails, and then fourth month the holes they will form in the body. Likewise, gradually they are forming. Likewise, he is saying here. So first 3 months only here it is described. Later wise, fourth and fifth are coming in the next shloka. So masena tu sirodbhabhyam bahu angriyadi anga vigrahah nakalo masti charmani linga chidradbhavstribihi. Masena tu sirodbhabhyam. Masena tu siro. In the first month, the head will form. And then dvabhyam, in the 2 months, bahu angri adi anga vigraha, the form of the structure of the body, like the hands and then legs and the adi anga vigraha, they will form in the second month. In the first month, head will form. Second month, the arms, legs, and the structure of the body would form. Anga vigraha. Vigraha is the form. And Nakalomasti charmani, and also naka is the nails, and loma is the body hair, asti charmani, bones, and then skin. They will also form linga chidra udbhava tribihi. Linga is the organ of generation. Chidra, apertures, the holes of the body. There are navarandras in the body, and they will form udbhavaha, appear in the tribihi within 3 months. Within 3 months, we will describe here. First month is the head forms, only the head, and there is no head, hands and feet. Second month, the form is there, hands and legs are there. In the third month, there are going to be the holes, the 2 ears, ear holes, 2 eyes, and then nostrils, mouth, genital, and rectum. Okay, those are the linga chiddhadbhavas tribihi. Okay, translation. In the course of a month, a head is formed, and at the end of 2 months, the hands, feet, and other limbs take shape. By the end of 3 months, the nails, fingers, toes, body hair, bones, and skin appear, as do the organ of generation and other apertures in the body, namely the eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, and anus. They all get formed in the third month. And as soon as it gets formed, and then generally when the pregnant women, they go to the hospitals, to the maternity hospital there, gynecologist scan the tummy and say that your baby is of woman or a baby boy or girl. Likewise, they will say after third month. This is whenever all these are happening. See, look how advanced this Srimad Bhagavatam is. The modern science is teaching us nowadays the latest technology, but it is already there. If a person who can understand by the sound vibrations, previously this is Shabda Gochara, all the knowledge comes through the Shabda. They can understand very easily, perceive and visualize through the sound vibrations. Now we have got everything like visual pictures and videos and everything like that. So here, by the 3 months, the body is formed. Bones, and bones can be seen in those scans. Bones, nostril, and the structure of the body of the baby. Okay, there is no purport here. We shall move to the next shloka as well. Shloka number 4. In the 4th month, the saptadhatus, they will form in the 4th month. And then in the 5th month, the hunger and thirst would happen. And then 6th month, the baby starts moving from one side to other side. If it is a boy, he will move into the right side, and then if it is a girl, move into the left side. That is most movements there in the womb of your mother. Okay, likewise, Kapila Bhagavan says here, Chaturbihi datavaha sapta, panchabihi chutrud udbhavaha, shadbhirjharayana vitaha, kukchobhramiti dakshine. Chaturbir dhatavaha sapta. Within 4 months, the 7 saptadhatus, the 7 ingredients are generated, saptadhatus. And panchabihi chutrud udbhavaha. Within the 5 months, chutrud, the hunger and thirst, they will get formed. And whenever they will, the hunger and thirst, that is the starting point for struggling for existence. Because every living entity is struggling for hunger and thirst. Either birds, cats, dogs, or humans. And they will make so many of plants. So that is hunger and thirst. It will happen from the 5th month. And then 6th month, Shadbhirjharayana Vitaha. Within 6 months, Jarayana, by the Omnian, Vitaha enclosed. Jarayuna, that one by the Omnian, and then Vitaha enclosed. Kuksho Brahmiti Dakshini. And in the abdomen, the baby starts moving on the right side. Dakshini is on the right side, if it is there. boy. Prabhupada describes that one. Of course, it is the natural in the Vedic tradition, especially in the villages, they will immediately understand if they go to the hospital, or they do not have to go to the hospital at all. At the home itself, if baby is moving on the right side, they know that it is a boy. If it is the left side, means it's a girl, like that. So this is Chaturbihi Datavah Datta, Panchabihi Kshutrud Udbhavaha, Shadbhir Jarayana Vitaha, Kukshod Brahmiti Dakshini. So within 4 months from the date of conception, the 7 essential ingredients of the body, namely chyle, blood and flesh, fat, bone, marrow, and semen, come into existence. These are Saptadhatus. And at the end of 5 months, hunger and thirst make themselves felt. And at the end of 6 months, the fetus, enclosed by the omnium, begins to move on the right side of the abdomen. And purport by Srila Prabhupada, it's fine. It's a tiny purport. When the body of the child is completely formed at the end of 6 months, the child, if he is male, begins to move on the right side, and if a female, she tries to move on the left side. Okay, that is from here. And going back to this, the beautiful picture, the 4th month, the Saptadhatus are mentioned here, 4th month, and then 5th month, the baby starts feeling hunger and thirst. Feelings cannot be shown in the picture, but on the 6th month, fetus moves on the right side. Fetus moves on the right side. This is another version of this picture, goes like this. Okay, it is again. This is very beautiful pictures. Here it is all described by Kapil Bhagavan. Okay, so and here from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the Sariram yadavapnoti yachapi utramatishvaraha. And there Krishna says that Sariram yad avapnoti, the living entity receives the body. Sariram yad avapnoti yachapi utramatishvaraha. Guhitvaitani samyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Just like the air, it will take the smell from one place to another place. In such a way, the living entity takes the vasanas, and it takes Sariram yad avapnoti. And the living entity in the middle, it carries different conceptions of life from one body to another, as it carries aromas. It will take some, this is called a subtle word. That's why one should not desire anything for himself personally. Everything he wanted to fulfill, desires of Krishna, not for personal things. Otherwise, he will have to carry those conceptions to next life. And again, whenever it takes like a specific type of senses, Srotram Chakshuhu Sparshanam Cha Rasanam Granam Evacha Adhishtaya Manushayam Vishyan Upasevate, the living entity accepting a particular type of the ears and the eyes and the skin and the tongue, likewise, and the nostrils, everything. And keeping the mind as the Adhishtaya Manushayam and Vishya Upasevate, keeping mind as the head of the senses, and then it will try to enjoy those senses or those conceptions which were carried from previous life to the current life. So they will be experienced again. This is everything. Karamana Dhaiva Netrina Jantuhu Dehu Uppattaye. Again, the Prakrutehe Karamani Gunehi Karamani Sarvashaha Ahankar Vimuratma Kattaham Iti Manyate. Everything material nature orchestrates for the living entity, but living entity thinks that I am the doer. That is the Vimudatma. Thinking like that is called Vimuda, foolishness. But what is the right thing? Because of his desires. By his desires, he will take birth. That is the main thing. Desires cannot be stopped, but they can be changed from material conception to the transcendental. Transcendental means serve everything unto the Supreme Personal in service of the Lord. Kamam tu dase natu kama kamyaya yetottama shloka janashriyaratihi. And also serving all my desires to fulfill the desires of the devotees of the Lord, like spiritual masters. Whatever spiritual master desires, and the disciple fulfills, that is going to be my desire. I wanted to fulfill desires of my spiritual master. He always serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is how desires will be completely transcended, and then we do not have any more desires in this material world. So material nature does not give any more material body. So, and then it will be in the spiritual body. Yadarahitamatmanam bhutendriya gunasayaihi swarupena mayopetam pasyan swarajyam vichyati. And after completely clear from three material modes of nature, the living entity in spiritual body go back to the spiritual world and enjoy with the Lord. That is, Yatra Chabhya Pumanaste Bhagavan Shabda Gocharaha Sattvam Vishtabhya Virijam Swanamno Mrudayan Rushaha. And while associating with the Lord, he will experience lots of pleasure. And the Lord is there. He performs so many pastimes. Okay, that is the perfection. Manishranu Anubhoyam Mamaloka Avalokanam Yad Bhukurcha Rahasi Chakadha Paramam Tapaha. Manishtanu Anubhavoyam Mamaloka Avalokanam. One has to come to my abode and live with me happily without any Pravartita yatra rajastamastoyoho sattvam cha mishram na cha kala vikramaha na yatra maya kimuta parer harer anuvrata yatra sura asura achitaha. My abode, there is no time influence, no maya, no sinful tendencies in my abode. There, Sura Asura Achitaha. Everyone, even the demons are also, they will also, without demonic nature, demon also worship me. Sura Asura Achitaha. Okay, likewise, Vaikuntha planet, that is the ultimate. But we have to understand. It's again later on in this chapter how different stages of pains of this living in the womb of the mother, how he prays. And then he resolves that as soon as, my dear Lord, even it is very difficult in this womb of my mother, there are Dehe Dehe Jarrabhim Nasra Vinmotra Kupapanto Brushatapta Deha. I am falling in the stool and urine puddle. My dear Lord, it is very difficult to stay here. I am in the womb of a different mother. He prays in a very horrible condition. That is, Dehi Anya Dehi very Jatrag Vinasrut. The blood of the mother, it is very warm to the baby, delicate baby body. He says, and then he counts how many months. Am I 6 months, 7th month, 9th month, likewise. Then he says, Icchanito Vimustum Ganayan Somasan. He counts months because he is full consciousness at that point of time. Because by the mercy of the Lord, he remembers Karma Janma Sadadbhavam Tatra Labdis Mutir Dhaivat. By the divine arrangement, he remembers hundreds of lifetimes at that smritis. It will come into existence, and then he counts when I would come out. But again, he thinks that if I go out outside, there is a Maya as well. It will capture me. Yatro Piyatum Upasatpati Deva Maya. So in such a way, Krupanidhi, he is very he is struggling and crying. On one side he is crying and started offering prayers to the Lord. So, and he resolves that, oh my dear Lord, after I come out, it doesn't matter whatever happens, even though Maya will take me, but I will with your help. And Tasmadaham Vikta Viklo Buddharishya, with your help. Therefore, with your help, my dear Lord, I will Atmanamasu Tamasaha Suhrudatmanaiva. Suhrudatmanaiva, you are the well-wisher, with your help. Bhoyo Yata Vyasanam Yetad Anekarandram Mame Bhavshiti Upasadita Vishnupadaha. I do not want to enter into the womb of another mother again. It became a Vyasanam or a bad habit. Bhoyo Yata Vyasanam Anekarandram. So many lifetimes, so many mothers. I have entered into that womb of different mother. But Mami Bhavishati, I do not want to enter into another mother again, and another womb. Mami Bhavishati, Upasadita Vishnupadaha. Then what? I wanted to hold onto the Vishnupada, your lotus feet. Likewise, he resolves, he concludes his prayers with that one. And then after that, even though he is praying, the Sutivata, that means the air within the womb, it will push him so that he comes out, and then with the pain he goes through, he will forget everything. And then he cries. He falls on the floor, and in the blood and urine and the stool, he just like a worm moves in the blood and stool. Likewise, the baby moves in that one. That exactly Kapil Bhagavan says, and then forgets all the consciousness, previous birth lives. And then he grows within the parents, where the mother and father does not know what baby wants. For everything, they will give milk or do something else. Even the baby wants something, some mosquito bites, or whether he is getting itching. But for that one, they do something else. In a horrible condition, the baby grows. Yes, that is a little journey of a baby in the womb of a mother. There I stop. I request the devotees, if you have got any questions or you want to comment or reflect anything or ask anything, then you ask or kindly reflect. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
I'm very, it's so much to remember all these processes, but I'm curious to know what happens to the super soul. The soul takes another body, yes? Well, what
Yes.
happens to the super soul when we leave this body? Why do
Super-
we need the super soul?
So as long as super soul exists, living entity exists within the body. As soon as super soul thinks that it is sufficient for this living entity in this body, then living entity and super soul both leave. And then this chariot, it will burn into the ashes. As an example, like in the Kurukshetra battle, as soon as battle is finished, there Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, can you get down the chariot? Then say Arjuna says, Krishna, first you get down. But Krishna says, you get down first, and then I will tell you later on. Later on, Arjuna got down, and then Krishna also released the 4 horses which are yoked to the chariot. And then he also asked Hanuman to get down. And then Arjuna, Hanuman, 4 horses came out of the chariot. Then immediately, and then Krishna comes out from the chariot. Then chariot turns into the, it will burn to ashes. Then Arjuna asked Krishna, Krishna, what happened to this chariot? What is happening? Krishna says that because of my presence, chariot is existing. Because Bhishma, Drona, Karna, they have so many arrows on this already. And it was burnt already. But because of my presence, it existed until this point of time. Now it is time for it to burn. So when Krishna is as super soul within our body, this body exists, and also the living entity. As soon as first Krishna allows us to move, and then Krishna leaves his body. Then the body turns into decomposition. It will turn into either soil or burnt to ashes or eaten by something else. No more life. That Hare Krishna Mataji. So that means
Right.
later on, Tam Jiva Karma Padvi. So Krishna, by Krishna's arrangement, again, Karmana Daiva Netrena, there he says that divine supervision, he makes that living entity is taking shelter of another semen of a father and then enter into womb of another mother. Okay, likewise, Lord is make sure that he enters. Again, both will go.
Okay, so the soul and super soul, they leave the body, yes?
Yes.
And then where do they go? I mean, is there time for them to wander or anything? Because, or do they take a body straight away?
So here, one thing is the living entity, if it is a sinful living entity, as in the previous chapter, the Yamadut Yamadoto Tadaprapto Bhimo Sarabhasa Iksh. They will come and take. Yamadotas will take the living entity. And then still the Lord will be waiting for that living entity to finish off all the hellish conditions and then return back, and then Lord will take and then make the living entity to enter into the womb of another mother. Karmana Daivanitena. In the later and here in the I think later shlokas, Tam Shiva Karma Padavim, it is said like this one. Tam Jiva Karma Padavim Anuvattamana Tapatrayopshamanaya Vayam Bhajema. There, would you like to read the translation, Mataji, please?
Okay, thank you. No one other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the localized Paramatma, the partial representation of the Lord, is directing all inanimate and animate objects. He is present in the three phases of time, past, present, and future. Therefore, the conditioned soul is engaged in different activities by his direction, and in order to get free from the threefold miseries of this conditional life, we have to surrender unto him only. Hare Krishna. So he's in control.
Yes.
Very nice. So the other part of my question would be, when does consciousness take place in the whole process, from the little blob to the egg and so on?
After the 7th month. So from the 7th month onwards, there in the later shlokas, like Natamana Rushir Bhitaha Saptavadrihi Krutanjalihi Tuvijitam Viklavayavata Yenodare Arpitaha. So in the 11th shloka, it is described there. He started offering prayers.
Okay, yeah. And so when why the soul is the most important part, isn't it? So
Yes.
what the super soul, why do we need them? Because it's just an observer, and who is it observing, and what is it observing, and who for?
That one, that is again in the 12th sloka, he's beg to pray everything. What are the questions? We are asking all advanced questions, Mataji. So here you can read this. This is Tasyopasannamavitum Jagadichayata Nano Tanur Bhuvi Chalacharanaravindham Soham Rajami Saranam Hekuto Bhayami Ye Nedrusi Katradarsi Asato Nurupa. Then would you like to read this one, Mataji, again, translation?
Yeah. Okay, the human soul says, I take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears in his various eternal forms and walks on the surface of the world. I take shelter of him only because he can give me relief from all fear, and from him I have received this condition of life, which is just befitting my impious activities. So it's already ordained, isn't it, what you should have? And who decide? Is it Krishna who decide, or the Yamadutas?
So here, so as a super soul, Krishna witnessed every activity of every living entity. He witnessed even Yamaduta's activities as well. He witnessed Yamadharmaraja activity. He witnessed living entities. He is super soul, and he directs. This is Upadrashta Anumanta Bhatta Bhokta Maheshwara. He is the doer actually. Even Yamadutas and Yamadharmaraja as the living entities are all just doing that. Actually, Lord is in the heart. He gives the instruction. Upadrashta Anumanta Bhatta Bhokta Maheshwara. So mito anigdhanti bhutani bhavayanti cha yenmatiha. Bhavayanti yenmitaha. So Arjuna says that one. Sometimes the Lord makes some people as friends, some people as enemies. Likewise, whenever Yadu dynasty they were destroyed, they're killing themselves. After looking at everything, Arjuna comes and he says this statement. Sometimes Lord make them the killed by themselves. And here Lord is in the present of the killer and also to be killed. Here Lord is all existing in both places. Lord is only giving the permission for the living entities. Upadrashta Anumanta Bhakta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Paramatmir Chapyukto Prakute Purushaha Paraha. So this is living entities. That's why everything is running by the material nature. But ahankar vimudatma hamiti mani. But we think we are the doers. But Lord drives everything. Living entity only desires. And the material nature arranges, the Lord directs. He gives permission and he is the seer.
So then comes the subtle body and the gross body and all sorts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if the Yamadutas don't carry out their duty properly, they make mistakes, does Krishna step in and rectify it and give you your rightful?
Krishna does not interfere in
He doesn't.
anyone's activity, anyone's duty.
Okay.
And if anyone is reciprocating in loving relationship with Krishna only, then he will reciprocate in the similar way.
Right, yeah. Thank you. That makes sense. Haribol.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Vijay Mataji, something like that. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this wonderful session. Hearing all this knowledge about the process and the creation of the body, and it's just so beautiful, even because I come from a medical background, so hearing all this knowledge is here. I didn't know. That's the first time I am hearing this from Bhagavatam. So it's so beautiful. And I have a question related to the process of the soul passing from one body to another, specifically in the from an animal to a human to a human body. So if as the soul is in an animal body, we know that an animal can't don't have conscious about his life. So if we said that our next body is we are going to get our next body according to our karma or our previous actions. How can an animal be able to get a human body if an animal can't is unaware of his its actions? Thank you.
So that one, animals, they have got consciousness, but they will remember in the divisions of creation. Lord Brahma, he creates let me just share that shloka. So here in the eighth, there are out of 10 divisions of creation, Brahma creates. There is Sham, Astamaha Sargaha. So Astavimshat Vido Mataha, Avido Bhuri Tamaso, Granadnya Vridi Avedinaha. Granadnya Vridi Avedinaha. So there, what it means, this is, it can remember very little in the heart. These animals, the eighth creation is that. Would you like to read that translation, Mataji, please? Would you like to read the translation, Mataji? Mataji?
Sorry. Thank you, Prabhuji. The eighth creation is that of the lower species of life, and they are of different varieties, numbering 28. They are all extensively foolish and ignorant. They know their desirables by smell, but are unable to remember anything within the heart.
And also purport message.
Purport. In the Vedas, the symptoms of the lower animals are described as follows. Atentar shampasuna ashana pipase eva vijanam navijana sorry vijnatam vadanti na vijnatam pasyanti na viduho shvastanam na lokav iti yat va buri tam so bahursha ranena vajanati hrityam pratisva priyam vasva eva vintanti vojanasai is long. So yeah, navi atam grinanti. Lower animals have knowledge only of their hunger and thirst. They have no acquired knowledge, no vision. Their behavior exhibits no independence of formalities, extensively ignorant. They can know their desirables only by smell, and by such intelligence only can they understand what is favorable and unfavorable. Their knowledge is concerned only with eating and sleeping. Therefore, even the most ferocious lower animals, such as tigers, can be tamed simply by regularly supplying meals and accommodations for sleeping. Only snakes cannot be tamed by such an arrangement.
Great. So any reflections, Mataji, from that?
Please, you. I receive your knowledge.
So the animals, they do not have any acquired knowledge. So that's why it is kept in the animal body. So animals like out of 8.4 million species, again, there are a set of number of living entities for each category. They will go gradually step by step. And then after passing through 8 million species, then they will come to the human beings. And within human beings, they will be again given an opportunity, like a very uncultured human beings initially. Uncultured human beings. Sometimes we might see the people living in the forest, people very living with animals mostly. In such kind of homes, those babies would take birth. Not immediately taking birth in the intelligent brahmanas like that or any scientists. They'll take birth in the families where they have lower consciousness, lower knowledge.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I have actually maybe an example of I'm not sure if I am wrong. Here in my country, in Colombia, some news in the previous months arrived, and it's there are some people, young people, who claim to feel like they are panthers. So they have some behaviors. So they go to the university and they do many things like human things, but they feel and they were they appeared in the news, and they say that they feel like they belong, they are animals. So they used to walk in four legs, and yeah, this kind of things very strange for us. So I don't know if it could be related to that?
Yeah, that is also consciousness of the living entity. They would take birth in such kind of living entities. From animals to gradually it needs to transcend from, transfer from one level to another level. Step 1 to step 2, step 3, like that. And still there are humans who eat other mans or something like that, still on the planet in a different. For example, there are some islands at the bottom of the India. There are some islands, I think, Andaman Nicobar. I think there is a government restriction that no one should go there because the forest people are there. The carnivores, something like that. Do not disturb them. It is not allowed for anyone. Likewise, there are few islands as well with people of those tribes. I do not know, but just hearing those from the news.
Okay.
So they don't
Thank
get
you,
the
sir.
knowledge immediately. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, dear devotees?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Question Prabhuji, this we have 8.4 million species.
Yes.
When this 8.4 million was created, when was this material world was created, or over the period?
So in the Brahma's creation, he has created 10 divisions of creation. So the trees, plants, animals, even ghosts, demons. So here, if we see here, in this chapter, it is described like the trees, all immovable trees and plants seek their subsistence upwards. They are almost unconscious but have feelings of pain within. They are manifested in variegated. This is one of the creation. The seventh creation is that of immovable living entities. Like again, the trees. So that means that previously the six creations are here. Out of the six creations, the demigods are there, then supernatural human beings, the ghosts and demons. So this is the entire 10th chapter of third canto. I think we have already passed these chapters. So these are all at the same time, all created at the same time. But however, we are discovering in the recently, we may think that we have come across first time, but actually they have, Brahma has created in the beginning itself, all 10 divisions of creation.
Okay, so all these 8.4 species were created at the time of creation, basically, under
Yes.
categories.
Yes.
So on what basis that time it was a like new creation? So on what basis of what karmas that somebody gone into like become a dinosaur or whatever creepy animal that time? Because there was no, it was like brand new universe or brand new material world was created whenever it was created, time immemorial, first time when it was created. So how this karma was built on those dinosaurs that time, because that was the first life they got it.
But here it is by the consciousness. The living entities, every Brahma's day, there is a creation happens. As soon as there is a devastating चतुर्युगाणां सहस्रमभु स्वपन स्वया उदिरितया स्वशिक्षा कालाख्यादित कर्मतंत्रो लोकानापीतान् ददृशे स्वदेहे. The living entities, because innumerable living entities, their consciousness is not yet developed as a devotional service to the Lord. So because they are not Krishna consciousness, still interested in the puritive activities of the 1000 yuga cycles of Brahma's day. And then there is a nighttime devastation. Again, in the next day, so the living entities, they go into the deep slumber. And the next day of Brahma, again, when he wakes up, again, he sees there is a devastation in water. Again, he starts to create 10 divisions or 8.4 millions of species. Again, at the time, based on the consciousness where they have left before, they were given the chance. In the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the 10th chapter, first canto, what is that one? Chapter creation. There it is chapter 10. Chapter 10, where departure of Krishna. This woman, those glorify Krishna, saying that Savaikilayam Purushaha Puratano Ekasit Avisheshatmani Agre Gunebhyo Jagadatmani Shire Nimilitatman Nishishakti Sektishu. Let me just go to that translation. Would you like to read the translation, Prabhuji, please?
Yeah, sure. They said, here he is the original personality of Godhead, as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and him only, because he is the Supreme Lord. All living beings merges as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended.
Then in the next sloka, it says, Sayo Bhuyo Nijiviri Toritam Swajiyo Mayam Prakritim Sisrukhatim Anama Rupatmani Rupanamani Viditsamano Anusasara Sastra Krup. And translation to this.
The personality of Godhead, again desiring to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, the living entities, place them under the guidance of material nature. By his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate.
So here, and the Prabhupada is mentioning here, they will get the body according to their consciousness.
Which is correct, but that happens when, let's say, we are in this life right now, and then obviously whenever we die or when the Brahma's night happens, every living entity will merge into again, and then there will be whatever conscious they are in, and the next day of the Brahma, they will emerge into the same different bodies, right?
Yes.
But my question goes back to very first creation, when this Lord decided to have very first material creation, when there was nothing at all. And then at that time, Brahma came in, and then he started to plant these lives. And then that was very first, I don't know how many billion, trillion, time immemorial we are going back here. On what basis those life were given that time? Because that was the first life ever.
Okay, yes. So it's very beautiful question, Prabhuji. So you wanted, whereas Brahma is like the first month or first day of Brahma. So now we are at Brahma's Diparadhyam. It is Brahma's lifespan is already 50 years past. So now we are in one day of Brahma. So before that, so many years. So it has crossed already 150 trillion years. And okay, if we look into the first day of Brahma, what happens? So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, he says, starting from Buddhamola Madashakam Ashwadham Prapuravim Chandam Syasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedave. Buddham Molam, the root of this material world in the spiritual world. And whenever the living entities are desiring something there in the spiritual world, they will come down to this material world. So the root is in the spiritual world. Here we cannot find the reasons here why one living entity is taken birth as a dog, one is a human, why is a demigod. In the Bhagavad Gita, there Narupamasya Tatopalabhyate. Again, what is that? Third and the third shloka it describes. I think maybe
Sorry, Prabhuji, is that banyan tree he explained, right? Is that the one?
Yes. For that one, the root is in the spiritual world. So, Vodbhumolam, the root is in there. And then further Krishna describes that one, that Adasya Molani Anusantatani Karmanubhandini Manushaloki, Adashodham Prastha Tasya Syaka, Guna Pravruddha Vishya Pravala. Because the living entities, they wanted to desire something when they are in the spiritual world. They are not yet in the material world. And there are living entities, how they are desiring, Vishya Pravala. Adasya Molani Anusantatani Karmanubhandini Manushaloki. They will come down because of those desires. And because further here, Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate na anto na cha adir na cha sampratishta ashwadhamenam suvirudamolam asangasatren dhurena chitva tataha padam tatvari madhyitavyam yasmin gata nanivattanti bhuyaha tameva chadhyam purusham prapadye yataha prutihi prastapuran. So here Krishna says that one root we cannot find in this material world. The root cause we cannot find in this material world. It is in the spiritual world. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Stilananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karma. Cause of all causes. So that means for existence of all living entities, 8.4 million species of life, actually those living entities from the spiritual world, because of those desires, Vishya Pravalaha, they come to this Manushya Loke, that we can see, Prabhu.
Okay, but if we have the same desire in the spiritual world, then what is the difference between material and spiritual world? Because we had number of times that spiritual world is free of desires, because obviously we are in the loving service of the Lord, and we don't have similar type of desire in spiritual world like we have it here. We want this, we want that. Over there, we're serving to the Lord every time.
Yes. So there, in the Vaikuntha, for example, in the case of Jaya and Vijaya, is an example, just ideal example. Kadati Kurtyamam Yadho Bohakratam Adikramam. They forgot for any moment, and then later on they were cursed by 4 Brahmanas, and then that you would go to the Manushya Loke, where it is the Papi Yastra Lokani Rajitam Antara Bhava Drushtya, where in this material world, goodness, passion, and ignorance, 3 material modes of nature, and Kama, Krodha, Lobha, they are the enemies of these people. They will come down to this material world because Kathati Kurchumam Yadho, Bohokratam, Atikramam, they have forgotten about the Lord for a moment of time.
Yes, yeah, that's right. What you said is just right. But that forgetfulness of the Lord in the desire world was manifested by the Lord Himself then.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so my point is that if all of whatever desire we had, that to want to enjoy and all those things, and this, then Lord created those desire into us, then this material world was created.
So there, so Lord, the desires with the living entities, Lord arranges everything. So how Lord says that Sapo Maiva Nimitaha Tadaveti Vipraha. Everything is orchestrated by me. It is my plan. You come here and you cursed them. But they have forgotten saying that Kadati Kurchamam Yadho Bohokratam Atikramam. They have forgotten for a moment. That's why they have done this mistake. Bohokratam Atikramam. Because in the previously Yetat Pureva Nidishtam Ramaya Krudhaya Yada Purapavari Vishinti Mayuparate. This Jaya and Vijaya, they were guarding the palace in the chambers of the Lord. So during the time, Goddess of Fortune was entering, and they have stopped Goddess of Fortune because they're doing their duty, but they have stopped. But Goddess of Fortune was a bit angry, and then she foretold. Yetai Pureva Nidishtam, she has already foretold. And Ramaya Krudhaya Yada, and then Lord has orchestrated so that Brahmanas come and then to make the words of Goddess of Fortune true. So they forgotten the Lord. So this is how the things are, everything is interlinked, but everything comes from the desire by based on our activities. How, with what consciousness I am performing my duty, what desires I have got, and how I am speaking. Everything again, the mind, body, and activity.
Yes, exactly. But as you gave example for Jay and Vijay, so I'm just trying to understand then if Lord has put that in, desire or forgetfulness into their mind, so they stopped the 4 Kumara and all those, pastime were played. So same thing happened when in the time immemorial, when this creation happened, same thing happened that time as well. Lord inserted some desire into us that we want to enjoy, and this material world was created that time then.
Yes. So there,
here. So if that is true, then obviously then Lord desire put some living entities in the spiritual world. Okay, you go and become animal, you become a tree, you become birds, you become human beings.
So here, one thing here, one more sentence was the statement from Bhagavatam. Naited Badadisha Padam Tavechitam Yadmayanaha Tanuse Bhota Sukshmam Anugrahaya Astu Api Yerihi Maya Lasatulasya Bhagavan Vilakchitaha. So you may read the translation, Prabhuji. Prabhupada has given elaborate explanation, but for translation.
My dear Lord, although it is not your desire, you manifest this creation of gross and subtle element just for our sensual satisfaction. Let your causeless mercy be upon us, for you have appeared before us in your eternal form, adorned with the splendid wreath of tulsi leaves.
So this material world is not created for those who do not want to enjoy sense gratification, but who constantly remain eternal loving service and for eternally Krishna consciousness. It is not for them. It is they will stay back. But people who are Vishya Pravala, who wanted to enjoy sense gratification, for them Lord creates here this material world. So here this purport very nicely explains. So again, later on, he also sends his representative to awaken the consciousness, dormant consciousness for those living entities who are experiencing this sense enjoyment.
Okay, it's getting late, Prabhuji. Then we'll pick up on some other class. Then that's okay. Thank you very much.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. But you can go third canto, 21 chapter. The shloka number is 20th.
Okay.
It gives elaborate explanations for that. You will find the exact answer.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, for
Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other
We
thing?
say 3 loud Hari Bols to Prabhuji.
Okay,
Unless
Prabhu.
anyone has
Hare
got questions.
Krishna.
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari Bol, Hari
Hari
Bol.
Very
Bol,
nice
Hari
class,
Bol.
Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare
Nice
Krishna.
class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Vanchaka patrubhyascha,
Sindubhya
sindubhya eva cha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hari
Krishna, everyone.
Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Hare
Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, there is a question on the chat. Would you want to answer it next time to Hitesh Prabhu? Or will you?
What is the question?
Mataji, it's not a question, it's a statement.
Oh, it's a statement. Okay.
Yeah.
But Prabhuji, just read it. So, because it says, is it correct?
Yeah.
So it felt like a question to me.
Yes, Lord's enjoyment bit we desire to enjoy, yes. Yes, correct. Such that Lord creates the fully complete world. We exit spiritual realm and take on material. Yes. Yeah, this is perfect. Yes, Prabhu, Hitesh Prabhu, please like that.
Very
Yeah.
nice
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
explanation, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for just confirming. I very much appreciate. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna, thank you.
Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
maybe when we meet again, it's about the animals turning into human, because there's talk about in our classes sometimes that when you got an animal and it's well behaved, it complies with everything, and it takes prasadam.
Yes.
It takes the prasadam, they can become human in the next time.
Yes, yes.
So that's something we could discuss further next time, because people want to go now.
Yeah, sure, Mataji. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And I also had a small question. I'll next time. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, and there's also another one about if you slaughter animals, you become an animal.
Yes, yes,
So we can talk about that next time, because it's a huge subject.
sure, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Yeah, wonderful association too. Thank you.